What's good, my dude? Today we're going to be taking a look at a kit from a show that nobody liked, but somehow in 20 years people will call it a cult classic. If you missed it, please check out my last video where I did another model kit review on the SMP Dynazenon. Also, thank you for 100 subscribers. It means a lot to me, especially considering how bad my upload schedule is. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'm planning on doing reviews for the new HGCE Infinite Justice Spec 2 and the MG Sananju Stein NT for Ka, so stay tuned for those in the near future. Now on to the review. So you may be wondering, hey, wait a minute, this kit isn't out yet, and you would be right. This is the special edition metallic version that comes with the Linko Planet Blu-ray and DVD bundle that I don't really know what to do with, that came out before the regular release. I got this at the Gundam Factory Yokohama on release day, where the walking RX-78 used to be. Weirdly enough, this was the only kit there, so I didn't manage to get my hands on any of the Gundam Factory Yokohama granddaddies. Now, I'm assuming that most of you are here because you want to know what the regular version would be like, but just in case you want to see the difference between the metallic version, I'll do a quick unboxing. So this cardboard box here is a little thicker than the usual Gunpla boxes, and once we slip this off, we can see the Blu-ray on top, and once we take off that cardboard cover, we can see a normal box on the inside. So the cover of the regular release probably looks something like this. With that out of the way, let's take a closer look at the actual kit. So here's the Amazing Barbatos Lupus, now painted in red so it can go 3 times as fast, and I gotta say, I really like this redesign. While it's still clearly the Barbatos Lupus, it somehow manages to have an even more intimidating design than before, especially once the backpack is attached to the kit. The majority of the parts on here are from the original HG Barbatos Lupus, so if you like that kit, this is good news. If you didn't, not so good news. So whatever issues you had with the old HG kit will likely still be here as well, except for one, the stickers. It also has some really nice surface detail that's really great for panel lining and a minor gap below the feet. The stickers here are now used for minor details, so you don't really have to worry about them peeling off as much, and they also stay on pretty well, but this one on the neck here is starting to peel off a little bit since it's so close to a joint. You also get a set of sticker details with the Linko Planet logo in several different colors. I'm pretty sure this only comes with the metallic version, but I guess we'll find out pretty soon. If you want to make a red Barbatos Lupus, you can. In case you were wondering what it looks like, here it is. Overall, the new parts used here to make the design look a lot more menacing. There's a lot of opportunities here to mix and match with the old parts, or you can just use them for kit bashing. It also comes with a pseudo inner frame due to the design of the Barbatos. It's nowhere near as detailed as an MG, but it's an HG kit. That's to be expected. One issue I do have with this kit is with the app crunch here. It doesn't really stay in a secure position, so it's really floppy out of the box. It just doesn't feel nearly as solid as all the other kits I built in the past. Even stuff like the HGUC Goof Custom, a kit that predates the IBO HGs by 5 years, feels a lot more solid. Another issue I have with this kit is the nub marks on it, and for once, it's not really my fault. This kit is not undergated at all, and while most of the nub marks are in spots that aren't too bad, there are a few on the legs and the forearms that are very obvious. You also have a seam line running down the arm here, and given that there's quite a bit of detail on the arms as well, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to remove. The injection sinks in the metallic version are also clear as day. Now for a quick size comparison. Here it is next to the HGUC Zaku 2 Revive, HGCE Gelgoog Menace, and the RG Gundam Mark II. So it's a bit taller than the average HG. Moving on, we gotta talk about the articulation of this kit, and it's nothing crazy for modern HG standards. Double jointed neck, full head rotation, ball joint at the shoulder pads can move individually, arm can go up this high, single joint elbow bend, ball joint at the wrist, very slight ab crunch, ball joint at the waist. Front skirts can be flipped up and down. I have modified these so they can be moved individually. The side skirts can be flipped up and moved side to side. Back skirts do not move. There's also a little swivel here. Legs can go up around 90 degrees and back a bit less. A beautiful split in the legs. Double jointed knee bend, ball joint at the ankle. Nice toe bend and movement in this armor piece above the foot. The articulation is quite nice overall, but it did experience some parts just falling off, particularly with the arms and the side skirts. The ball joint connection between the shoulder and the polycap in the torso just doesn't feel very strong with the way they're attached. While it can lift up its arms no problem, that's mainly because it's quite light. I feel that if you let the Barbatos hold a weapon in its hands, it's gonna cause the arms to start to droop down a little while you're posing with it. Moving on, let's talk about the accessories. First, we got the Amazing Mace, and it's quite the menacing weapon. It's got a really nice amount of surface detail, which is great for panel lining, and you can also see here that it has machine guns on the side of the mace itself that can be used when it's held with both hands. To get it in hand while it's being swung around like a mace, it's the usual sandwich hands. To get it holding while it's using its machine guns, first you flip out this grip on the mace, swap hands with these bent down hands, and sandwich them together. It doesn't look too impressive here, but it'll become more relevant once we talk about the next accessory. When the mace is in hand, I've also had this issue where I would try to get the Barbatos to raise its arms to a certain height, and then they would begin to droop down, and it would reach a certain point and it would just stop. I did find a solution without making any modifications, and it was just simply to use the shoulder armor to support the arms. It's not perfect, but it does work. What's up, my dudes? It's me, Plumevil from the future, and while I was filming the review, I also found out that you could have the joint resting on the outer torso armor, and that works too. Okay, bye. Unfortunately, this is gonna be a reoccurring theme with the kit. You also get the sword mace from the original Barbatos Lupus, so you can dual wield them with the Amazing Mace if you want. The Amazing Mace can also be stored on the original backpack if needed, but the sword mace can't be stored anywhere on the Amazing Barbatos. Next, we got the Amazing Booster Tenshiki, and it's basically Hashmal Jr., and that's what I'm going to be referring to as for the rest of this review. It's a completely new design and personally the most interesting part of this kit. Now, apparently Hashmal Jr. can function independently of Barbatos in the anime. I don't know, I didn't watch it. So this part here is actually the head, and more importantly, it's quite solid and doesn't flop around. You can also see that each of these parts are articulated as well in order to change forms when it's attached to the Barbatos Lupus. So here on the inside of these binders, you can see a joint on the inside that can slide around to adjust the position of them. The joints also lock into place when you pull them into a specific position, so you don't have to worry about them drooping down or not being solid. You also get a hinge here and a ball joint at the bottom of the arm, and you also have these claw arms at the bottom here that can be pushed together so they can stay straight. There's also a C-clip at the bottom Hashmal Jr.'s neck, a hinge joint here, and a ball joint below the head. So a really surprising range of motion here. More importantly, it can be displayed on its own thanks to the simple action base included with the kit. Now let's attach Hashmal Jr. to the Barbatos, and all you got to do here is bend the neck back and make sure that these pegs go into the two holes on the back here, and there you go. The pack itself is quite heavy, so Barbatos does have a bit of trouble standing up sometimes, so having a stand included is really helpful. However, I did find that if you distribute the weight just right, it doesn't really need a stand to support it. You can also mount the Amazing Mace onto the pack. Next, we got the combined form of the Hashmal Jr., the Amazing Iron Blood. The combination is pretty simple. You remove the entire pack, take off these claws and head, fold down the binders, and then lock them into place. Reattach the mace and make sure that this groove is on top while the tail attaches to the mace, and then put on the Hashmal head. Lastly, take these two stubs here and flip them up to lock the mace into place, and there you go. There's no way around the stand here, you absolutely need it, and the claws basically go nowhere, so you have to store them somewhere else. To make the Barbatos hold the Amazing Iron Blood, it's the same way with the two-handed mace. Replace the hands, flip the grip, sandwich the hands, and there you go. It's a nice big gun, and one thing I did notice was that when you tried to pose it with the included stand peg upright, it's a bit too high for a Barbatos to reach, so I had to settle it for this height instead. Lastly, there's the Daiju form, and I probably butchered that, and to do this, you take off the claws of the Hashmal, remove the claw, and attach the armor part to the arm, and then put it on the claw. Then you flip these binders back, fold them, and lock into place like with the Amazing Iron Blood, then reattach them to the back of the Barbatos, and there we go. This is probably my personal favorite form, as it really embraces that monster-like appearance of the Lupus Rex. The claws here can also do a full rotation and each move individually. One issue I did find with this form is that because of the way that the binders are folded onto the back, they tend to get in the way of the shoulder pads. You can also pull out this blade back here and insert this wire to get the super hard wire blade. I'm not joking, this is actually what it's called, check the wiki. Unfortunately, the blade itself is a bit too heavy, so posing it in the position you like may be a little bit difficult, since it does need some form of support to actually get into its deployed pose. So I kind of got around this by letting the part sit on the armor for it to do any good poses. The wire also doesn't fit inside the actual blade very well, so you can't really point the blade down or at any angles because it might cause it to fall off. If I were to describe this kit in the least amount of words where it's possible, it would be overly ambitious. The old IBO Gundam frames may be revolutionary when they came out in 2015, but their jankier designs don't really have a place when compared to modern Gunpla. While I don't usually have too many problems with polycaps, one issue I do have with this is that they can't really handle heavier equipment, and combined with the old IBO frames, it really makes posing with this kit a bit difficult to work with at times. Speaking of heavier weapons, I also noticed that the armor piece on the sandwich hands has a tendency to pop off really easier when a weapon is in hand. I think it's because of the weight as well, and I also had the V-fins fall off several times as well as the arms. Hashmal Jr. is a great addition to this kit, even though the wire blade barely works. I'm also really glad that the pack comes with a hole in the back for the sand too, so it makes posing with the pack while it's on Barbatos a lot more stable. Hey, it's me from the future again, and while I was editing this video, I just realized that the backpack itself is not really compatible with any other kits. However, if you have the special backpack adapter from the HG Barbatos, it suddenly works. Special thanks to MJ Gundam 2005 for figuring this out. Link to his channel is in the description. With all the stability issues and the parts falling off, I really should hate this kit, but I don't know what it is. I really can't, because once I do manage to get this in a good pose, it looks excellent, and I forget all the problems and the struggles I had going through just to get into this position and enjoy how good it looks on my shelf. So needless to say, my feelings on this kit are pretty mixed overall. If you're asking if I would personally recommend the metallic version, the answer would be a hard no. Not only is it too much of a hassle to get the metallic version to begin with, it's also way more expensive too just for retail, but for the regular release, it depends. If you're looking for a general all-around good modern day high-grade kit, maybe this isn't for you. But if you're a big fan of the HG IBO line, the Barbatos line, or just looking to get a kit that you'll pose once and never touch again, I think you would really like this. Despite all the issues I have with this kit has really grown on me, and I can't help but like it. I still should have bought the regular version though. And that's it for the review. If you like this, tune in again later for a review of the HGC Infinite Justice Type 2 and the MG Sananju Stein Verka by hitting that subscribe button for any future uploads. I don't know which one I'm gonna do first yet, but we'll see. Anyways, check out this video from my channel that YouTube thinks you might like.